You are listening to the golden microphones of the IMC Radio. News, opinions, and your calls.
You gotta see that big picture.
Sometimes if you stop the machine, then you realize, whoa.
You know, you have to have some foresight and think about what kind of an effect is that going to have on air travel.
How important is aviation?
How important is aviation to you? Okay, well, this is kind of an odd time to do a podcast. And for an even odder reason, I'm Howie Marlin, a.k.a. Max Gross, and I'm here with my buddy Joe Harper. Hey, Joe.
How are you, Howie?
Joe's a partner in my airplane in the hangar, and today is April 15th, and Joe and I went flying today and had an interesting experience. We landed without our starboard gear. Ain't that right, Joe?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we went up, beautiful day, a little breezy, and blowing somewhere in the high teens and gusting in the low 20s, right?
Low 20s, yeah.
And we went up to do some maneuvers. So what's interesting is I've been going up with Joe a lot, showing him how to surf the waves of gusty days, right?
Oh, we've done quite a bit. We've been on gustier days than today.
Yeah, we did a couple of weeks ago. It was blowing in the
blowing in the mid-20s, gusting in the mid-30s.
Yeah,
it was party time.
It was party time. And what's awesome is that we've been going up a lot in these kind of conditions just to get real comfortable with, the way things can go. And so going up today, no big deal. It was blowing in the high teens off of
coming in 230,
and our runway heading is
240.
So not a big deal.
No, not at all. Just typical for us.
Now it was gusty as we went down the runway too far on Martha's Vineyard, and like we said, it's gusted in the low 20s. We're being blown around a little bit as we're going down the runway. We lift off. What happened, Joe?
Felt like a gust. All of a sudden, pop, right wing went up, and kind of, okay, gusty. We just controlled ourselves, did some climbing. Once we get above about 900, smoothed out.
Forgot all about it.
Yep, typical day at the office for us flying.
And there we went. So we took off. We went southeast of Katama. We went up 3,000 feet, started doing maneuvers, right? What did we focus on, Joe?
Focused on turns, coordinated turns, both left, right, turns while climbing.
Yeah, keeping focused on the ball. It did a lot of those exercises. Had Joe working on altitude, speed, and direction, coming to the same altitude, speed, direction that we wanted, and started showing signs of progress, which was awesome. I mean, it was fine. And so we were up there, I don't know, what would you say, 40 minutes, 45 minutes?
About 45 minutes we were up doing the maneuvers out over.
So here we are, yep. At altitude. So we decide we're going to do some touch and goes at Katama before we go in. Like I said, we got an upgraded ATIS from Martha's Vineyard Airport, which is only 4 miles away, and 5 miles away. And it was, like I said, blowing 230. It increased a little bit. Winds increased about 17, gusts to the low 20s on 230, going on runway heading 240. Grass runway, there's virtually nothing but a farm and a few cows leading up to the threshold.
There's your target. Just
right?
Don't hit the cows.
So as we come down, and I said something, it's gusty, only one notch of flaps. We're going to come in a little hot to do a touch and go. And tell them what happened.
Well, we came down, lined up, went a little bit left wing down, just like we practiced numerous times over at that airfield with the wind. Start to flare up a little bit, just touch, and suddenly we're getting, we thought, blown to the right.
Which is, as those of you that have flown in crosswinds, if you're not crossing your controls into the wind, it'll pick you up and take you off to the right. And the last time something like this happened to me, I was flying into Nantucket, and I only had 50, 60 hours under my belt, and I had not yet learned how to deal with crosswind components and effectively. I got a gust of wind, picked me up and blew me off to the right. I went up over the runway sideline markers and onto the grass. I'm sure the tower laughed. They didn't say anything. I just taxied right back onto it and took off again. Turned around, took off. But what happened to us, we got this gust, or so we thought, and I cross-controlled a little bit, thinking I was going to cross into the wind, but we were still being, quote-unquote, blown off to the right. And I said, let's go around.
Yep, so we just did a quick pop, got ourselves some speed, about 10 feet off the ground.
And when you say pop, you're talking about riding the
round effect cushion, got ourselves up a little bit, got ourselves situated, and then climbed back to altitude and said, let's try this again.
Back in the races, and off we went. So we took our time getting to altitude, took our time, went a little bit long, right? We said, okay, let's line ourselves up real nice. And like I said, with about 17 coming at you, I'm telling Joe, it's going to be a real short. I said to you, we're only doing like 56 over the ground, right?
Yeah, ground speed was only 56.
So, indicated was 70-ish or 60s, something. Let's just say that the wind was charging at us. And I said, it's going to be a real short roll.
Oh, yeah.
And
we planned for it.
And we came down and we flared, and I felt what appeared a gust again blowing from the left to right, and it pushed us. It was not right. Nothing about this was right. And I said, screw it, and floored it, and off we went. So going around. This time, I instantly announced containment traffic, Zernon Whiskey going around on 2-4. However, I'd already flip-flopped the radio from Martha's Vineyard Airport, MVY, and Tower comes back and says, Zernon Whiskey, you coming back from Katama? I said, yeah, I laughed. I said, yeah, coming back from Katama. He goes, all right, give me 2 miles. Announced 2 mile left base.
2 miles out, and at that point we were both saying, okay, something just did not feel right.
Yeah, but it only didn't feel right. And because of the gusts, gave us no indication that anything was weird. And I said, I don't know, Joe. Maybe I have a flat, right?
Yep, and about, mile out, I looked right at you and I said, yep, maybe we'll swing by the tower and have them look, and then it hit me. It's like, they're not going to be able to tell if the damn thing's flat.
That's the one thing I really didn't think to have them check the fuselage to see if we were missing any components.
At that point,
it was no. We had no indication. There was no bang. No, we can't see our gear. So, and they're fixed, and everything's permanently 3 in the green as far as I know. And the bottom line is, hell. We get to. We're coming up close. I announced we're 2 miles out, and he says, Zernon Whiskey, there's service vehicle. Service vehicle. Do you see him? And I said, roger that. We have a vehicle in sight. Fine. The vehicle clears. He goes, Clearland 24, Zernon Whiskey. I said, great. Clearland 24. So we turn. We're fine. We line up base not too far out, and come in at a normal rate, and it's blowing nice. And I say to Joe, if we have a flat, I don't want to go too far, so I'm going to land down.
Just going to
land down towards the middle of the runway.
Take a nice long cruise in, nice and easy.
Not drop it down at the numbers. Drop it down like midfield and turn in to the blues.
Yep.
Tie downs in front of the restaurant. That's what I said.
And we'll go figure out.
And then we'll figure out what's going on. The point being, I didn't want to put it down early. I wanted to put it down late in the runway. I wanted to be very, very, very slow. But it was so windy and so gusty, I only did 1 notch of flaps. So normally, if you really do want to slow down the most you can, of course, traditionally you'll want to pop in a Cherokee 3 pops of flaps. Might even yank that extra 10 degrees. But because it was so windy and gusty, it's been my experience that I felt more comfortable just with 1 notch of flaps. That way, I'm not that affected by the gusts as I would if I had all the flaps down. And so here's the what did we hear as we're crossing the numbers?
As we're crossing the numbers, coming up, sliding in nice and easy.
There's a Cessna at the hold short
at the hold
line,
short mark,
and he says,
he comes on the air and goes, "Hey, has anybody been able to find the aircraft who owns the landing gear on the runway?"
The timing couldn't have been better.
God,
When he said, "Hey, has anybody found my port wheel touches? Owner of the landing gear."
and there's what's left of the right strut dragging across the runway.
And I'm going, oh, shit. And the two of us at the same time, oh, shit. So I'm sitting right seat, and I'm putting more and more rudder, and we're keeping what we were doing, Joe. What were we?
We were keeping
Center?
we keeping ourselves in a nice straight line. We had been coming in on the left wing low, not too low, but low enough to compensate for the wind. And then he's doing left rudder, I'm left ruddering. We're both turning into the wind, and I'm applying the brake steadily. And
we didn't go down very far. It must have been maybe a 300-foot roll,
if that.
And then the wing drops.
It settles softly by itself.
But it's settled.
There was no
there was no
pound.
boom, there was no bounce, there was no bang. It was just all of a sudden the right side is down as well, and we're still tracking true. We're still going down the runway, and our speed was reducing, and you had put all left aileron or rudder rather, and then left brake.
Yep, just applying it steadily as we normally would on a landing, but when we knew we were in trouble, firmly but not really hard, just gradually putting it. And then we both looked at each other, and that's when I saw the wing clip one of the runway lights.
We started veering off. At this time, Joe starts to shut everything down, and he's throwing switches like crazy. And I'm going, great. Turns the engine off, and everything was completely off. We had knocked off a runway boundary light, and just about 15 feet off the runway on the right?
Yep. We settle off about 15 feet. That's when the strut finally caught, hooked us 45 degrees. Now is it. As far as we went.
That was it. We just turned 45 degrees. We didn't do a I forget what it's called. Ground loop. We didn't ground loop. We didn't hit the prop. We didn't fold a wing. We didn't. And we it's like we look at each other and go, I guess we should get out. and we get out, and the guys are coming. There was the field service truck. He's right there.
Yeah, you turn around, you see the fire truck coming out the barn.
And then the fire truck. But what did the guys tell you? That they were pointing at each
other?
Oh,
yeah. The driver of the van, the two of them were looking, and they were right at the end. Right at the very end of the runway. When that statement was made, the driver is pounding on his passenger going, "There's the plane. There it is." And
that's
we
the
went
one.
Down.
Yeah. So they were saying, "That's the one." Holy shit! Oh my! And there we are. So at the very time that the Cessna said, "Hey, has anybody found the owner of the touchdown?" So what was weird was we had so much wind coming at us, and we were flaring, and left wing down, trying to, because I thought I had a flat. You want to go the slowest possible, and I want to be closest to, I don't know, was it Charlie or I think Charlie, to turn off at Charlie.
Yeah,
we
were shooting for Charlie, which would put us straight into the restaurant.
And there we are. So the guys come running up, and I go, "You all right?" I go, "We're fine.
We're good."
And he goes, "That was great." And I go, "Thanks." And I'm like, and the fire truck came up, and they go, "Oh, I guess we should all get away from the airplane." I said, "Sure." And we all step away from the airplane. But we had already turned everything off, and there was nothing. Matter of fact, it didn't take long. We went back to the FBO, and we gave them our information. And then the guys came back and said, yeah, we're going to go get it now. And they just got a lift. They literally lifted the wing, put a little tug
Yeah, just a
cart.
Yeah, it was
under
almost
what the
like a cart just right under there, like they would do if someone had a flat out there that couldn't transport it. They just throw it quick on there.
And a natural hookup to the nose wheel, and they just had the tug, and they just
brought it
tugged
back to the
along
hangar.
back to the hangar. And there it is, sitting pretty as can be. No wrinkles in the wing.
Just one.
From the
from the runway light, yeah.
From the runway light.
Perimeter light, yeah, boink.
Which is I said we should sign it and leave it. But and the nav light, the starboard nav light, which I think got whacked by the bushes.
I think we took the bush at Katama when we were.
The bushes. But the thing is, that was amazing because that was just amazing.
And
so
the true funny part, I mean, it's not funny, but is the fact that we never freaked out. At one point, we looked at each other and went, use the F-bomb real quick, and everything we did together in sync.
We did. That was funny because the inputs on the controls were the same,
identical,
and because I've joked about how when I've been up with Joe and something overcomes him, I'll pull the controls out of his hands and to make the corrections, but what happened with us this time was everything was perfect. Everything was the same, and it worked out really well. So it's an incident, and it was a controlled landing, and no harm, no foul. I need to, of course, I'll talk to the FAA. It's the thing is, we did good. You did good, Joe. You did real good.
And I've said it before. You don't give yourself enough credit for what you know.
Well, I've tried hard, and I've listened to my flight instructors, and big nod to Mike Creato and to Doug Chaffee, and the guys who taught me well. But you're actually going off to start your official flight instruction on Monday?
Yeah.
Is that right, Joe?
Yes, on Monday I start officially on it.
How do you like that? So
but the nice part is we've worked in this wind before. Yep. We spend a lot of time bouncing around.
So not too many people can say that that they. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
No, I'll say it. But I know what you mean.
Other than that, we had a bird strike or bat strike. We think a month ago, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago when we went up.
Was that it? 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's all it's been, man.
Before Sun and Fun? Wow.
Yeah, before you went to Sun and Fun, before I went.
Now, we don't know what it was, but we know there was something, and it came up, and it went within the arc of the propeller and did not make contact with the prop or the windscreen.
No.
But we both went, whoa! Yeah, we ducked. What was that? He goes, I don't know. It looked like a bat. He goes, that's a bat? I go, it was night. I had just done my 4, and I got you, and, we were doing the night landings.
We were
and
practicing up there at night. It's like, okay, so 4 weeks, March, April, not so good for us right at the moment.
Well, a big nod to Wayland for the lights.
Yes, thank you for that perimeter light.
Yeah, that worked out real well. So it's interesting. We, there's a lot to be grateful for, and things worked out pretty darn good. Oddly enough, I want to thank Free Flight Systems for their support. Truly appreciate that. Bose, of course, thank you very much, you guys, for helping us with the podcast. And I hope you've all enjoyed this very unusual, ad hoc. I don't even know what to say. The bottom line is we will be producing more. There's more interviews.
Reflect the views of the IMC Club or IMC Club International.
Oh, good. I'm glad she said that. We'll have more of the interviews from Sun and Fun produced later in the week. In the meantime, on behalf of Joe Hartman, thank you very much. And everybody else at the IMC Club, Howie Marlin, a.k.a. Max Gross. Oh, wait a minute. Do you have a shout-out for anybody? Say something to Megan?
Yeah, I could say, Megan, my fiance, I am fine. And yes, we will pay for the hair color.
You'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy the show.
Private joke.
Thank you very much.